I would tell them that, you're going to kill off everything, but these people don't care. They know better than me. You've taken away the platform from the Atalantas of the world, the Parmas of the world, the Udineses of the world. You've taken away the platform from them to even ever have a chance to reach that level again. To me, it just smells like elitism at its finest. Ultimately, if you're trying to make that kind of money, you're trying to swallow up the rest of the leagues anyway, right? So what are you going to do? If people don't realize which direction the world's headed to, they are really blind. They are really, really blind. You're killing something that has been really cultural.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Italian Football TV. We are here with a special guest, two-time world champion, Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, thank you so much for coming on. We know you're a boxing legend. We also know you're a cultural lover also. Thank you for being on with me today.
Under such somber circumstances, my pleasure.
Great to hear, Paulie. You sound very calm, considering all the crazy stuff that's been happening, I think, the past 24 hours with this Super League. So I'm sure you, I, and everyone else is confused with what's going on. First things first, what do you think about the teams and what happened and that it's finally official?
To me, it just smells like elitism at its finest, because for me, I'm sort of an old school guy. Once you changed around the scope of the European competitions and you eliminated the Cup Winners' Cup and you made the Champions League a much broader tournament to include more teams, not just that were the champions of the domestic leagues, but also, the runners up, third place, even fourth place in some leagues like the Italian, like the Serie A and others. I think you basically made your case for some sort of Super League, right? I mean, you made your case that every season you can have a major level type Super League in Europe, and it would be the Champions League. These are the top teams out of every domestic league, but you would still be feeding into the domestic leagues because, in order to qualify for this Super Champions League type of thing, you would have to make sure you perform domestically. Now, in doing this, I guess this sort of breakaway league, it just smells of elitism. It just smells of, because in the Champions League, you will still get teams like Atalanta that sneak in. You will still get teams like Leicester City that will sneak in. You will get teams, like Valencia that will get in there. Borussia Mönchengladbach, whatever it is. Marseille, whatever it is, you'll get teams that will get in there. In the Champions League and sneak it in there. Even out of the main leagues, and they will keep one of the major teams or two of the major teams out. Like right now in this year's Champions League, Arsenal was not there, Milan was not there. So the standings enforced the Champions League. So it was basically sport. Now what it's become is elitism at its finest. You just said, what, we don't even want to deal with the competition aspect of it. We just want certain teams in there, and that's it. Whether they qualify or not, whether they are good enough or not, we're going to put them into this elite level league where it's going to have a bunch of money, where they'll be able to maintain an elite level at a much higher standard than other teams. And the other teams are just going to kind of take a back seat, because the sponsors are going to come to a Super League, to the Super League that's being created. You basically eliminated the sporting aspect of it. You've eliminated the qualification aspect of it. You just said, what, the Champions League, yeah, it worked, but what, sometimes these lesser teams will qualify and prevent the bigger teams from qualifying. So what, we want to eliminate that kind of that hoop to jump through, and we're just going to make it clear cut, just elitism type teams. And that's it. Richest teams that, everybody roots for, everybody knows about. And for this reason, I give tons of credit to Bayern and PSG, because those are the two Champions League finalists in the last season. And they are still clubs that could easily join this league. And yet they are still fighting for, a grassroots type of football, a grassroots type of football where, your domestic leagues can not only force the qualification like in the Champions League, but also you're feeding your middle tier of your domestic leagues, your Sassuolos of the world, your Atalantas of the world. What happens to them now? You're just creating. This is basically what's happening, and a mirror of what's happening in the world right now. In the world right now, due to all this pandemic and political stuff, not to get into too much politics, but you're having the elimination of mom and pop shops and basically homegrown shops, and you're having the crowning and more empowering of monster conglomerates like Amazon, Apple, and so on and so forth. And they're closing down everybody else, right? So you've basically taken that aspect of real life from a political aspect, and you've put it into football now. And you're basically including sport in this as well. I guess you're trying to make it a worldwide takeover from an elitism perspective, because this is elitism at its finest, and it just smells of such corruption, man. It's just, I mean, I've heard Daniele's are involved. I've heard JP Morgan Chase is going to be one of the main sponsors of the champions of the Super League. JP Morgan Chase were, if you know your history, were one of the main families that created the World Fed system, which basically indebted the entire world about over 100 years ago. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, JP Morgan, and a few other families, and they are no coincidence involved in this too. It's just, if people don't realize which direction the world's headed to, they are really blind. They are really, really blind. They are crazy.
Paula, you seem you have a strong take in this, but I just want to add a little bit more structure in the terms of that there's a lot of there's a big misconception in terms of, because a lot of people think this is going to replace the domestic league. This is apparently not going to replace the domestic league. This is supposed to replace the Champions League, and Sky actually proposed a format that I want to read off right now. We'll have it on the screen so everyone could read on. So the proposed format would be, the teams will be placed into 2 groups of 10, and they will be playing each other home and away, followed by a knockout stage. So similar to a lot of the American sports that we have here. All the games.
Yeah, this is the way the Champions Cup was before it was called the Champions League. It was all home away, home and away.
It seems like they want to go back to that. Also, games will be played in midweek, and the competition will run from August until May. There will be the 12 founding clubs with 3 more anticipated, and the 15 founding clubs will govern the tournament with 5 other teams that will have to qualify each season. So there's a lot on our plate over here. There seems to be promotion and relegation only to like the 5 bottom teams that have to work for this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've made it
even more vigorous in the Champions League, it seems like, because it's gonna be every single week, and there's also some hints that they're going to be playing their domestic leagues with their weekend squad. Then play their full team within the European Super League. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing, because in the European Super League now you have no relegation, and the elite teams, the core teams, can never lose their spot in the Super League, right? Is that what
that's
I gathered
what it's
from
hinting
what you just
at, for
said?
sure. Yeah, that's what
I'm saying. So you've eliminated the competition aspect of the sport. Again, this is elitism at its finest. You've eventually eliminated the competition aspect of the sport, and obviously FIFA's trying to dig their feet in the sand. And not to say that FIFA hasn't done their own bunch of damage in years, but if you have it this way and the domestic leagues become a B tier league, it's basically becoming like the Serie A becomes basically like a Serie B type of thing, the Premier League becomes basically like a league championship, and so on and so forth. So you're still going to kill off the sponsors for those leagues. You're going to, and in killing off the sponsors, you're going to kill off the mid tier teams of those leagues and their ability to, bring in money, their ability to, get sponsors, all things that will allow them to acquire better players and even feed their youth system, and then so on and so forth. It's just a trickle down effect. While the whole time you have the elite level teams that have nothing to worry about. They can play at the top level consistently, constantly, and they're not bothered by any of this because they've always got sponsorship money, because those top 15 teams you talk about, whatever they are, they will always get endorsements and revenue constantly, because they can never even be relegated from this league, or they can never not qualify from this league. Like as I said, I made you the example of the Champions League. In the modern format of the Champions League, you still have to qualify for it. Arsenal and Milan were not in the Champions League, and they have not been in it in a few years. So no matter what your reputation is in club football, you still have to qualify for the Champions League. You don't get in just on reputation. So.
100%.
And that's why it's called a sport. You're just turning this into more and more of a business, and you're turning it into an elitism type of deal here. You're totally just bypassing the sporting aspect of it completely. Now, this is always a business, but it's always a sport too. You're completely bypassing the sport now. You're just saying, we're going to do this. Winning and losing is not even going to matter. These teams are here and that's it. And then For the others, if you're lucky, you can join this elite club if we let you. If you pass our core set of rules or whatever it is, but
Yeah.
we're going to be the ones to decide. And again, this is an elitism type thing. Again, like I said, there is no surprise from me that if anybody's a historian of history or even football or just history in general, especially history in general, once I saw that J.P. Morgan Chase was involved, there was no surprise at what this was. This is a global takeover, and sport is involved in this global takeover. This is crazy. This is crazy, and it's just they ruined like such a good thing, really.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not here defending FIFA. FIFA's got their own set of corruption standards. From one end, it almost serves them right, but from the other end, this is going to make things worse. This is actually going to You're not solving the problem. You're just becoming more corrupt than your corrupter. That's
Totally.
all you're doing.
Yeah,
And
Paulie. A
and,
lot of
and,
people,
and
I'm sure, agree with you on here. A lot of people don't want this happening, but just to play devil's advocate on this whole situation, talking about devil's advocate, I'm wearing the Devil's tee that you can pick up on ItalianFootballTV.com. Had to put that plug over there. Our drop is still going on, so check that out. But but talking about that, Sky Sport also talked about basically if a team like Manchester United, on a good year, if they win Champions League, they would win between 40 and 80 million pounds on a good year. Now, just by participating in the Super League, you'd get a check. Just by participating, a check worth 250 to 300 million pounds just to begin with. So, Paulie, I'm going to ask you, if you're the owner of one of these Super League clubs, what are you going to do? And be honest.
here's the thing. I don't know what it's like to have that kind of money. Okay, but to have that kind of money means you already own those teams. So how much more money is that kind of money? Because there is if you're worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, or pounds or euros, whatever it is that you're counting in, um, you can own one of these football teams, right? You have to have that kind of money just to own one of these football teams, one of these culture teams, right? So for me, if you're a middle class, you're always trying to grow. But how much do you really need to grow if your fortune is in the billions? Do you really need to kill off something that has been standard, something that has been cultural, something that has been a part of an iconic part of just mankind? And which, again, this is not just in football. This is also in everything in general. Like I said, in the world today, all the mom and pop shops are dying off. No matter what country you go to, and the elite monsters are just sucking everything in like a vacuum. So how much money is too much money? How much money is too much money? And what do you want to do with that money? What do you want to do? What do you want to just kill? Because ultimately, if you're trying to make that kind of money, you're trying to swallow up the rest of the leagues anyway, right? So what are you going to do? What are you trying to do? In real life, Amazon is putting people out of business right now, right? Because they can't open most of the time, right? Or Apple or whatever. In real life, in football life here, you're going to have the Super League slowly putting owners out of business with the mid-tier teams. You had it's fun to root for teams like Atalanta, or even years ago Udinese, or they put together a nice little team, and all of a sudden they're competitive for the Champions League and whatnot. It's nice. It was nice to watch in Parma in the '90s winning the UEFA Cup and reaching the Cup Winners' Cup final in '94. It was fun. It was nice to see that. You can kind of put it together, and then all of a sudden you can actually compete. What are you doing now? This is not sport. You're basically just feeding the monster. You're killing off the middle class, basically sporting communism. Because in communism, you kill off the middle class, right? This is basically sporting communism. You're killing off the middle class of the sport, and you're basically raising an elite class, and everybody else is on the bottom, peasant class, and that's it. You've eliminated that middle tier. Because right now, you'd say the elite class is the Champions League, and the middle class are the domestic leagues, and then the peasant class would be the lower domestic leagues. Your Serie C's, your Serie D's, your Serie even B. Like right now you have a standard, but you are essentially killing all that off. And I don't know, man. For me, this is mirrors life. This is what's happening in the world, and this is what's happening in the sport. And if people don't see it, they're blind. But pretty soon, everybody's going to see what I'm talking about. And this is a shame that it happened here too. And I don't. And the thing about it is, the money players always win. That's what I noticed in life. In my 40 years, The big money players always win. So um, when you're playing with money versus money, it's the bigger fish, still the bigger fish. So yes, FIFA's big, but the Super League is going to be even bigger. So at the end of the day, they're going to eat it up, and it's going to kill off a real lot of good things. And that's why for me it's kind of sad, because it's you're killing something that has been really cultural, and what if FIFA does install these rules where they are out of their leagues, which is being talked about. These guys are saying, okay, they're gonna play their B teams in the domestic leagues. Of course, FIFA should throw them out of the domestic leagues. But who wants to see your B team in the domestic league? Who wants to see that? I don't want to see your B. It's bad enough when they eliminated the Cup Winners' Cup that the Coppa Italia became a B team now. You're playing your B team in the Coppa Italia for a long time, or even when they made the Champions League a bigger tournament, that a lot of the Italian teams were playing the B team in the Europa League games. That was already annoying enough. Now I have to watch elite level teams from Italy playing their B teams in Serie A so they can play their main teams in the Super League. I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. Why do I need to see that when they can play their A teams in the domestic league and then qualify for a Champions League that they could then strive to win and basically have the same kind of or similar kind of thing to the Super League, with the exception of that you actually have to qualify for it and you don't just get there on reputation and name recognition, which it's crazy. It's crazy.
So now there's a lot on our minds right now. Basically, we already know UEFA isn't gonna go down without a fight on this one. So basically, Alexander Ceferin, the UEFA president, came out and said that the players that will play in the Super League will be banned from playing in the World Cup, the Euros, and everyone, and they won't be allowed to play for their national team. Now, do you think this is a bluff for them? Or do you think this is actually something they do? Because at the end of the day, if they do ban players like Ronaldo, like Messi, they're going to lose a lot of money and a lot of viewers and sponsorships because not a lot of players are going to have people watching this competition.
I don't know. I hope it's not a bluff, but I think the Super League will go on anyway. Again, the money players win in the end. So, whether it's a bluff or not, it's not going to stop this from happening. And again, to combine sport and politics, you're basically eliminating the pride in your nation. Because if you have the World Cup without the players that play for these teams, these are essentially all the stars. These kind of major club teams have all the superstars, most of the superstars in the world. I mean, granted, without Bayern and Paris and PSG, you're going to have a couple of guys still able to participate in the World Cup. But say this FIFA regulation stands, you're going to kill off so many of the national teams. Mm-hmm. You're going to basically kill the World Cup because a lot of the fans watch or have pride in the World Cup because of everybody's allowed to play it, and it's their pride in their nation, and it's their pride in their national sovereignty.
Do you think Messi and Ronaldo would be okay with not playing for the national teams, or do you think they'd be going against it?
I think I would love to see them stand up against this, but I don't see them doing that.
No,
I don't. I would love for people to take a stand, like when you're worth, how much money do you need to be worth before you actually make a stand, it's not making a stand when everybody else is going the same way you're going, making a stand would mean, when you have the power and you actually go against the power players, so all the power players are going one way. If you go the same way as the power players, even if you're outnumbered, you're still not making a stand. So right now the Super League is outnumbered. You have a ton more other players or a ton more other teams that are on the other side of this. But they have all the money, they have all the power. So in order to if you're going with the Super League, you're not making a stand. You're not doing anything. Even if it's a breakaway and it's a smaller league than on the other one, you're still not making a stand because they have the power. It's when you go against the power, that's when you've made a stand, and obviously if just for the right reasons. Otherwise, you're making a stand and just being a criminal. But if you make a stand against the power players, okay, then you make a stand. But right now, are Messi and Ronaldo going to do it? I don't think so. I would love to see it, but I don't think so. And I'm not doubting their pride in their country, especially Ronaldo. I mean, he bleeds for Portugal, but I don't know. I could easily see him saying, "Bro, I've done this for a long time. I'm done." Wow. Ibrahimovic just said he was playing for Sweden again. So now, for him, he just goes back to being what he was doing. Which was he had retired already from the national team.
Yeah, that's true. Ceferin also, he didn't stop there. He also, we're talking about backstabbing, all this stuff that's going around that we haven't heard about, shady stuff. Cheferin goes again and also releases this quote. He said, "We'll suspend the 12 teams as soon as possible. I've never seen someone lie to me as much as Andrea Agnelli. I spoke to him on Saturday, and he said it, and he said they were all just rumors. Then he turned off his phone. He's one of, if not the biggest disappointment. We didn't know we had snakes in our own home." Also, New York Times said that Cheferin is the godfather of Agnelli's firstborn daughter. So even when they're family, it seems like nothing stops this whole monopoly. It seems like at this point.
Yeah, greed. That's what I mean. It's greed, and elitists always value power even over money. You know what I'm saying? That because they already have tons of money. But the more money they get, if you take away money from everybody else, so you already have a ton of money. But the problem with an elitist is this: it's not about getting more money. It's about taking away all the money from everybody else. Because now you've already got more money than everybody else. You know, if you're an elitist type of person like an Agnelli, you already and like I said, like these JP Morgan type people, you know, you've already got a lot of money. You got more money than everybody else. But when you can also take it away from everybody else, that makes you an elitist. That makes you a real scumbag. But that's basically what this is all about.
Now, Paulie, if you were face to face with one of these Super League owners, say you were in front of Agnelli right now, what would you tell him to convince him and be like, why you think this is not a good idea and how they should why they should avoid this?
It's there's no convincing somebody like that because it's all good only for him. You know, I basically I would tell him that, you know, you're gonna kill off everything, but these people don't care. They know better than me. You know, they knew when they were doing this, it's going to kill off everything else. You know, they don't care. Again, an elitist doesn't care about money as much as he cares about having power, you know, because they already have all the money. It's not just about having all the money. It's about taking away all the money from everybody beneath them so that everybody beneath them can never even compare to them ever again because you take away their own platform. And that's what this is doing. You've taken away the platform from the Atalantas of the world, the Parmas of the world, the Udineses of the world. You know, you've taken away the platform from them to even ever have a chance to reach that level again. You by using that power that you have. You know, so
wow. Paulie, you said a lot. We know what side you're on at the end of the day. Just wanted to thank you for coming on this. And a lot of people in the comments, I'm sure, are going to have a lot to say. I'm sure most of them are going to agree with you. I just wanted to end this with one final question. You can answer this yes or no. The question is, Paulie, will you be watching the European Super League?
No, I'm done. I'm done. Honestly, I'm done, bro. Not only am I not going to watch the Super League, I might not even watch anything else, any of the sport. I mean, bro, I'm telling you, I'm the kind of person that will watch sports for years and I'll shut it off, man. I did that with the NFL. I did that with the NBA. I'm telling you, I'm that kind of guy. Like if something irks me, I will go from watching everything right away to not watching it at all ever again. You know, and they better not do this. That's all I'm saying. At least for my own interest, they better not do this. Big props, by the way. Not enough props being given to Bayern and PSG. Big props for having the guts to stand up to this. You know, they are power teams. I'm sure eventually, I wouldn't be surprised if they fall to it too, because there's nothing else you can do as long as the Super League keeps gaining power. But big props to at least try to make a difference. You know, teams that strong. I will always respect those clubs from now on. Even if the Super League by some miracle doesn't happen, I'm telling you right now, I will root for Bayern over Italian teams. I will root for Bayern over those three scumbag Serie A teams. If this Super League wouldn't work out and they played in the Champions League, I would root for PSG over those three scumbag Italian teams. I'm done with those clubs. I'm done with those kind of people.
Wow, Paulie, you said it. You had a rant on. Paulie, thanks again, man, for jumping on. It means a lot.
And hopefully they don't ruin this summer's Euro already, because we have the Euro this summer too. So if this happens, though, they might ruin the Euro too.
You're right.
All right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank Paulie in the comments below and let us know what you think about the Super League. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Ciao, guys.
Thanks, guys.